Hey everybody, it's LaRonda and I am back with another video, and today I am going to be just basically speaking from the heart. This is going to be the story of first date number 4756, or at least that's what it feels like. So I went out on a first date and with a guy, and these are sort of the perils of living on an island or in a vacation destination. You get people passing through all the time, and in this day and age of like dating apps and stuff like that, the people that sometimes come through and that you match with are not always people that are going to be around for the long haul. They may be here for a week or a weekend or something like that, and then they're gone. But that's the chance that you take when you're kind of, dating on these apps. So, and living in a vacation destination. So, yesterday, this weekend, I matched up with a guy that was here from New Jersey, and he was here for only the weekend. Cautious, and I tend not to get excited anymore in general about the people that I meet online, because it's always like a mixed bag of things. Like sometimes you meet people and you have a nice banter online, but you get in person and it sucks and you don't have a good rapport, and there's no chemistry. But in this case, like, we were talking for a couple of days online, and we had agreed to meet on Sunday to meet up with each other in person. But we had a lot of like little conversations and chit chats like over the couple of days that he was here online before the meetup, and he was really interesting to talk to. He seemed like he was really interested in asking me questions and talking about things, and I like that about him. So it was a really good rapport online. And he mentioned to me while we were talking online that he was really excited to meet me. But like, of course, I have my little walls up, because I'm like, don't get too excited, because, it might backfire in your face. Like, like my worst date ever that I posted about before. So every time I'm going out on a date, I'm always being a little bit cautious about what's going to happen, and trying not to get my hopes up too much for anything, because I've just had so many different experiences of, getting really excited about people and having it not be anything to get excited about, or getting all worked up for nothing. So met up early, like Sunday afternoon. It was a little bit of a game of hide and seek at first, which he cutely texted to me, oh, like starting out with a game of hide and seek, and I thought that was cute. But we were supposed to meet in Old San Juan, and I couldn't find him at first, so I walked around the block, and then when I was walking back, I saw him standing there, and like immediately I was attracted to him, and I was like, oh, okay. So it ended up being sort of a pleasant surprise, because as I was like immediately attracted to him, and I felt like there was some energy from him that was saying the same. So we started walking around, and just hanging out, and we decided to stop and get some lunch, which we did. He was like the consummate gentleman. He let me enter into doors first. He held doors for me. He, walked on the street side, like as we were walking around, and he made sure that like he was always on the street side. And, he just seemed like he was a real true gentleman. He didn't make me pay for anything. We had lunch. We enjoyed ourselves. We had drinks. It was a good time, and the conversation just flowed, like stopped. So we met up around close to noon, and we decided to walk around Old San Juan, and we popped into this restaurant and got some food. We ordered drinks, because one of the things we were joking about online is pineapples and his love for pineapples, and that was a cute little joke. And so we had said online we were going to get pina coladas, and we did. So we had lunch, and we just talked about his childhood growing up in Colombia, and how he came to the U.S., and his father and his family, and all of these different little things, ways that deeper things and the things that I feel like really help you to get to know people. It was not a whole lot of superficial conversation about the weather and stuff like that. I mean, it was really like get to know you stuff, like deep down inside. We talked about our fears and um, I mean, from one conversation to the next. I mean, even we had a little bit of a chat, a little conversation about doors and traveling and, how some countries have amazing doors. That was a little topic. And I mean, so once we finished eating lunch and talking about that, we talked about another thing we talked about is like, he had mentioned to me that he had just gotten out of a relationship about 2 months ago, which was a little bit disappointing because for me, like generally, I know when people are just well, I'll say this: when in my experience, the men who have gotten just recently out of really long-term relationships, in this case 9 years, are very rarely interested in getting right into something else right away. And of course, as everyone who watches this channel knows, I'm looking for more than just, a fling or something to do on the weekends. I'm looking for like real connections that make me real connections that get me to a relationship that's sustainable and long term. So of course, like in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, well, this is probably not going to be that, as sad as that might be. But, I didn't want to, be certain about that right away. But it was definitely something that was in the back of my mind from from the time that we spoke about that. But some of the other things we talked about is like, how someone will know that you're interested in them, because like he was telling me he hadn't been in the dating game for so long that he really didn't know, and he was kind of oblivious to maybe whether someone was interested in him or not. And so I was telling him basically all of the signs that I knew for me personally that he could know that I may or not that I was interested. And so we ended up, talking a little bit more. And I guess we stayed at the restaurant for maybe like an hour or an hour and a half. I don't know, something like that. And then we left. And when we got outside, he kissed me. And I was like, oh. It was really nice though. Like it was really nice because and the thing is like, because one of the things that I hate sometimes on dates is when there's really no particular chemistry and someone sort of just tries to kind of force it or whatever. But in this case, like we had already talked about what the signs were, and I think I had already kind of told him that I found him attractive, and he had already told me. And so like I felt like it was very clear. And so I wasn't off put by it. Like it was good, and it was nice because like we were in the little cobblestone streets of Old San Juan and in around the colorful buildings and stuff. Like I don't know if you've ever been to Old San Juan, but if you have, you know how romantic it is. It's colorful, it's overlooking the ocean, and it's really a romantic place. So I loved it. I love that he took that opportunity, and like from there it was just like, more talking, and we ended up walking up to El Morro, and we laid on the grass kind of overlooking the ocean and La Perla, and we were just kind of talking and cuddling and chatting about things and just enjoying each other's company and enjoying the view. And he was taking pictures of the murals and just kind of strolling around and watching the waters and listening to the waves and talking about things. And it was just really nice. So they talked about those things and stood over the ocean and kissed a little bit more. And it was really nice. And, he always was like everywhere we went, he was making sure like, touching my back or holding my hand or just really being attentive. He wasn't paying attention to his phone. He wasn't pulling out his phone every 5 minutes, unless it had something to do with something we were talking about and he wanted to Google something. But other than that, he wasn't constantly checking his email or texting or doing any of that. He was very attentive. When we were having conversation, he wasn't cutting me off during the conversation. He was listening to what I was saying and asking me questions. And answering my questions with more than one word. It was just easy. Um, so we left there and we just kept walking some more and some more and walking all down the streets and looking at the statues and just talking and sitting and talking some more and buying some more drinks. Like we stopped and had drinks a few times, and so the date really didn't end until about like 8 o'clock or so at night, maybe 8:30, something like that. So overall, we spent about 8 hours together, just really enjoying each other's company. But towards the end of the date, we had sat down and we were talking, and I kind of asked him, was I ever going to see him again? Because I knew that he was going to be leaving the next day. And, he had said something about he probably wasn't going to be coming back to Puerto Rico very often, maybe once a year, but it didn't sound very promising, like he was going to be making any extra trips here to see me or anything like that. And of course, he had just gotten out of the long-term relationship, so he really wasn't looking to, start up something long distance and whatever. So, as sad as it was, like, I feel like it's part of living on an island. And if you're, using these dating apps and dating websites, there's always people coming through that, they may or may not be here for longer than the weekend. But I guess there's a part of me that feels like there's nothing wrong with, seeing if you have a connection with a person. Because, like, for me, dating here on the island has not been something that was very easy. Like, finding people that have great conversation, or even dating profiles that have words on them that you can actually start a good conversation with, is very rare. And so, like, I tend to connect with people that actually have words in their, in their profiles that I can start a conversation with. And generally, those are people that are not from here. And, so I went into it kind of knowing that there was a possibility that it was just going to be a one-time thing. And, as I said earlier, I don't get my hopes up too much beforehand. But once we sort of got on the date and I felt the connection, like, and the conversation was so good, and I really enjoyed the chemistry that we had, I had hoped that, maybe there was a chance we would keep in touch more than just, like, next time I'm in town, I'll call you. Even if it didn't lead to a relationship, but maybe some sort of friendship, or like, hey, LaRonda, like, how are you doing? What's going on? Just, talking to each other every once in a while. Since really, honestly, for me, like, the East Coast is not really that far away, but, everybody is not as adventurous as I am when it comes to, traveling and going to see people and stuff like that. So, it's understandable, sad, but understandable. So we kind of, had one last drink, and he walked me to the train, and I'm sorry, to the ferry. Walked me to the ferry, kissed me goodbye, and kind of he asked me to text him when he got home, and I did, and let him know that I was home, and thanked him for the date, and that was it. I don't like really saying goodbyes and all that kind of stuff, but, like, sometimes it's just, it is what it is, and sometimes you're going to be saying goodbye to people that you really like, and that, you think you could have a really good friendship or otherwise with, but, the timing is wrong, or the logistics are wrong, and just things don't line up, and so that's the way the cookie crumbles. But I gotta say, this is better than my worst date ever. So at least I'm on the upswing. Even though I had to say goodbye to the guy that I had a lot of chemistry with, I'm on the upswing. So at least there's that. I guess I can end the video here. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the date. I enjoyed being touched by someone, having someone pay attention to me and not cut me off and not try to out-talk me or undertalk me, you know, like I enjoyed being with someone that knew how to hold a conversation, that was thoroughly interested in talking and getting to know me, and who I felt the very same about. You know, it was something that was really nice, and someone that was really protective over me and tried to make sure I was safe and cared enough about me to, you know, make sure I was good and take care of me and make sure I enjoyed the day. So like I really love that about him. So I know one thing is that whoever he does end up with, you know, he's gonna end up, they're gonna be a very lucky person. If he has the guy that, you know, he showed me on this first date, someone's gonna be a very lucky person to find him. And you know, I wish him the best. So anyway, thank you for watching. It's back to the drawing board for me. I'm gonna start back updating again, and you know, go back and see what else I can find out there, and hopefully finally I'll find someone that's interested in the same thing as I'm interested in at the same time. But let's see. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you coming to my channel and watching my videos. If you like the video, please bleh. If you like the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel and share it with your friends if they're interested in talks about dating and stuff like that. So thank you for watching. I will talk to you in the next video. Happy dating, everybody. Bye-bye.